Well, I got my scale replaced at the old Harbor Freight, so now I just have to make it home, which shouldn't be too hard. I'll check out the dumpster on the way there. Not like I can actually dig anything from the dumpster, since I don't have my truck or van, but I'll look anyway. Who cannot be curious? The bad thing about the Harbor Freight parking lot is that there are no ducks, chickens, or iguanas ever here. This place is locked in by all these condominiums, and there's no canal around here. Let's see. There we go. Guess they're taking stuff out. That's unusual. You would think Harbor Freight would be just bringing stuff in. The dumpsters are empty. Anyway. Huh. Okay. There's a Chick-fil-A. Video still working? Yes. I have not seen that many people at the Chick-fil-A lately. I guess everyone's too broke to eat duck food. Let's see. Oh boy. Anyway, I want to talk about something else. You know me, I always find something to talk about in my ride and talks. I ride because I got to get different places, and I talk because, well, it keeps you from being lonely. It's not like I'm here by myself. I'm actually here with my friends. Anybody that would take their time to watch my video must be a friend. I can't imagine anybody else wanting to take their time to watch this silliness. Okay. And there's no sidewalk here, of course. We don't want to make it easy for the bike riders. Everything's designed for cars in this town. Anyway, well, there are a lot of people at the Chick-fil-A now, it looks like. I see actually quite a few. Look at all these people waiting in line. Wow. There's a lot of them here. Oh, I hate that smell. Wow, that's terrible. People are willing to get in line and wait for what is basically duck food warmed over. Well, the line's not as long as it could be, but it's still too long. Then again, I'm one of the few people that never understood the need for a drive-through. I mean, think about it. If I was on the road and I knew that I was going to have to eat something, I would be waiting until the next place that I go to, or, and this is just me saying it, I'd be cooking while I drive. Think about it. When I'm at home, I cook while I'm doing other things. So what's wrong with cooking while you drive? Seems like a good idea in some ways. And again, who knows? This place is pretty dangerous. Even though they have a pedestrian signal, it doesn't work. This light never has changed to red, so you have to take your chances here. Let me see what we got going on. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's too late. Anyway, let me make sure that the camera is still running. Sometimes I end up talking and I never get to express what I want to say because the camera's turned off. Well, again, people would rather sit in line for low-quality duck food than to cook something themselves. Now, because of that, I think that I've alienated a lot of people. You'll notice in the carnivore space, there are several very popular groups, websites, and so on. And you'll find me on a few of them. I've been interviewed by some of the greats, including Anthony Chafee, Dr. Sean Baker, and Dr. Kiltz. And it is kind of nice because they know that I exist, and they know that I'm not a complete quack. But you have a lot of these other groups, especially the pay-to-play groups, that they bring people in, and you notice not one of them has ever invited me into any of their groups to say anything, which I think is kind of interesting. I think it goes a lot to say the motives of some people, but can't really judge that. The way I figure it is this: when you are anti-establishment, you will always be on the fringe. And that's the way that I'm always going to be. So you'll never see me invited to speak at any of these overpriced get-togethers, and you will never see me, most likely, in any of the pay-to-play groups. You will see me on the groups that are open. You'll see me frequently on the new channels. The drawback is a lot of the new channels come and go. So many of the interviews that I've done have disappeared for good. Now, I was very happy that one of my viewers sent me that interview from almost 3 years ago that I did with Joey Schwartz. I've gotten a lot of compliments on that interview, so that's really good. But the most popular interview that I ever did, which was in August of 2022, seems to be gone. I can't find it anywhere, and I've looked. I don't know if anybody out there has it. Maybe somebody saved it. I really should have saved it myself, but I didn't think it would be a big deal, and at that time, my computer had no way of recording it anyway. Normally what I would do, I would look for the YouTube temporary file. That's how I used to do it. Then I started using OBS, screen capture or whatever. But the problem is, I never thought about it, so I just sort of didn't do it, and it just disappeared. If anybody has that file or has access to it, I'd like you to send it to me. I'd like to analyze again why it was that it got to be so popular. How did I get over 300,000 views on a video that was basically a nobody talking about his crazy life, looking for a heart attack with a carnivore diet? That's a good question. Well, anyway, as time has gone on, as you probably noticed, these groups tend to go into almost like little tribes, which is kind of interesting in many ways. That always happens in life. Certain people, they just really like you, and other people, not so much. Some people will try and associate with you for a while until they get their own group, and then they find someone that's more interesting, they find a group that's more interesting, or whatever else. Anyway, as time goes on, this will continue to be a thing. And you'll see that if you're in any of these groups, you have people that you communicate regularly with, a very, very small amount of those people will continue to be friends for a really long time. And one thing that I have noticed, and I've seen this over and over again, when you meet someone in person, it really seems to make a difference versus when you do it virtually. Is that Starbucks open already? I guess it is. I see people going in and out. But there's no sign on this. I guess the sign is up front. I see people in the drive-thru. This camera must be a little dirty. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's just the way this guy is. Anyway. Yep, a few months ago that was an old abandoned Burger King. Now it's Starbucks. And by the way, that's one place I will never understand. How can you make a business selling drinks? Interesting. So, as time goes on, some people tend to associate more with others. They form their own groups. See, they got the dumpster over there. Trying to find the one where they throw the office equipment away. The office building's a little further down. Might be able to find a computer. There's the stray cats over there. Hey, kitty, 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 kitty. Look at all the stray cats. Got some tiger cat, gray and white cat. Hi, kitty. And poor stray cats. Well, people do feed them. That's a good thing. There are a lot of people out there that like to feed the cats because they feel sorry for them, and at least they have something to eat. Hopefully they're grabbing them, getting them fixed so they don't make more kittens. But no matter what happens, no matter how many times they trap, neuter, and release the cats, it seems like there's always kittens that turn into cats. Interesting. See these people over here going for a run. Not very fast, but they are moving. I congratulate people, at least they make an effort. They could be sitting in front of their TV or computer or whatever, or like this guy over here just sort of looking at his phone. Oh, look at that. Got a truckload of beef. Should I hijack it? There's going to come the time when Black Angus beef, people are going to start robbing meat trucks. The price of meat the way it is. Why bother with an armored car to get a bunch of worthless fiat money when you could get some beef instead? I wonder where they're going. I guess they're going to that restaurant. They got a steakhouse called La Fogata. It's one of those Brazilian steakhouses. There's another one over here. There are quite a few. I'm sure their prices have gone up since the cost of beef has gone up. Not sure how much they've raised it. There's the back of the modern 5 and 10 cent store, known as a Five Below. There's hardly anything that's below $5 anymore. A lot of dumpsters, but just a bunch of garbage. Boxes, flies. This is not a good day for dumpster diving. Yesterday is a better day. There's a security car. Anyway, this is probably going to be the next Publix that gets demolished and rebuilt. You can tell that it's shabby, and this is usually the way they look a couple of years before they get torn down. They're not doing any maintenance. It's broken down. I guess they don't want to spend the money on painting something that's going to be knocked down next year. This is the worst grocery store in Miami, I think. Publix. This is overpriced, ugly. Okay. Oh, I see an orange cat. Kitty, 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 kitty. Hello, there goes the kitty. Hello, kitty cat. Oh, orange cat. You look just like Garfield. Look at that. Just like Garfield did. Hey, Garfield. Hello, Garfield. What? You afraid of me, little Garfield? I had a cat named Garfield that looked like that. Good kitty. A good cat. Yep. One of those days. It's probably after 6 o'clock by now. Day's starting to wind down. There's the back of the steakhouse. They got a vat of used cooking oil, so you know you don't want to eat at this place. It's called Fuegos del Sur, Argentinian Steakhouse. There it is. So that's the other one they have here. So there's like two of them. I don't know if the Argentinian steakhouse is the same as a Brazilian steakhouse, where you can eat all you want. Hard to say. And we're gonna go by the Seventh-day Adventist headquarters they have around the corner. I'm sure they appreciate being downwind from the steakhouse. They probably wouldn't notice anyway. I take the shortcut through the parking lot because it's better than trying to deal with the traffic over there, and I can always cut across this little border they have here. That's the main reason I ride the bike. I'm not trying to get any exercise. I'm not trying to extend my life by cycling. I just don't want to deal with the aggravation. It's like people often say, Rick doesn't get mad. Well, I do get mad at times. It's not often, but I do. But realistically, why would I put myself in a lot of traffic and a lot of hassle when I don't have to? Plus, this road only goes one way. And then you got to worry about if you make a mistake. Cops are going to harass you. If you're on a bicycle and you're just ratty looking, cops don't even want to get near you. They're like, who cares? I don't think I could pass for an illegal. I'm just way too tall, but at least I'm poor looking, so that'll work. And I am poor anyway, so it kind of all works out. But yeah, it's a nice time of night. The weather's still hot here. It's not getting any cooler yet. Humidity is slightly less. It hasn't rained today. It did rain yesterday. Ground is still wet, but I think that the dry season has started. Usually what happens is it may rain once a week. It may rain in the morning sometimes, and then it just gets drier and drier and drier until it just goes months without raining. That's Florida, kind of the opposite of California. California, they usually get their wet season and we get our dry season. Funny how that works. Oh, it looks like the traffic's moving a little better now. It is a little bit later. But anyway, enough of me and my little travels, my leisurely ride. We're not pushing ourselves today. We're riding easy. Very simple. I haven't gotten the notice yet, but tonight is supposed to be. It's Tuesday night. It should be Russ Mitchell's Keto Cookout. So I'm heading back to the house. My computer has problems. My audio doesn't work right. I still haven't been able to fix it. So I guess I'll just have to use the built-in microphone, which isn't great, but it's better than nothing. That's kind of what I'm dealing with. There's the office park. See, this is a place that you can hit the dumpster sometimes and find computers. Yeah, I might just take a little check over there. See if there's any goodies in the dumpster. Maybe we'll get lucky. If I can find a halfway decent PC or part of one, I can build one. And my camera's still working too. That's one of the great things about doing this later on in the day. You're less likely to have a camera failure. Well, let's see. Let's hit the dumpster. All right. Got a printer box or something. Laser printer. Just a bunch of garbage. Paper, food. Empty box. Yep. All right. There's nothing good in that dumpster, but that's okay. The other side is where the Seventh-day Adventist offices are. There's that other office building. I already checked that. Usually, you got to go like end of the month. That's when you get the good stuff. People, they're moving out. Their lease is up. Usually the last week of the month you get good stuff. All right. Oh, okay. Put the bank over here, and they don't throw anything good in this place. Yep. Anyway, like I was saying, we all tend to associate with people that we have things in common with. Sometimes people associate with others just because they want something. It's like the person that has money that everybody wants to be friends with. So, and this dynamic also takes place in the carnivore community. If you have money or you have influence, everyone's going to flock to be your friend. If you're one of the prominent people, they're going to want to get on your channel so that they can kind of bring you along with them. But it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes people will kind of get tired of each other, and other times they'll just sort of give up, Empty. It's nice being 6'6" when you're a garbage picker. Anyway. Yeah. You're never going to be able to please everybody. That's just the way it is. Nothing you can do. No dumping allowed. Nope, nothing in there. All right. Let's go over here. There are some people, however, that become lifelong friends. I've had a few of them. And I think I've met some from the carnivore community as well. I can think of 4 people right now that I communicate with regularly, that I have met from YouTube. That's pretty good. I don't remember if they said that you could have up to like 50 close contacts and maybe only 12 close friends. I forget how that works. And that seems to be the average that I've had. But I don't actively pursue anything. I let the people that like me come to me first. Here's the other steak place. I don't know if this probably is just a regular steakhouse. Carnicero. Not too many. There's a few people in there. I mean, it might be. And here's some duck food, if you like duck food. We got KF crab, Kentucky fried crab. Wedges are back. I have no idea what that is, but it looks nasty. And if you're a real desperate person, you can go over here to the Taco Hell. Look at this place. Ugh. It smells nasty. And there's people lined up for Taco Bell. Can't believe it. Oh well. Let's see if we can get through here without being run over. Well, we're good so far. Wow, that video hasn't gone out either. The phone's not even that hot. Amazing. Anyway. It is quite interesting when you observe the relationships that people develop. You can see that some people are just naturally compatible and others not so much. But they will make alliances just to get what they want. You might think about people that they work somewhere and they try to be friendly with the owner of the company or the boss or whatever. You got that office politics going on. Oh, you're such a great person, and then behind their back they talk about them like, what a loser, what an idiot. I've seen this more than once. And it really confuses me because I don't see the point of it. If I don't like something somebody's doing, I'll tell it to them. And you can see me when I make my comments, whenever I talk to people, I'll criticize them to their face. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Now, obviously, because you're on the internet, you don't want to be making threats against people and having speculation as to what somebody's doing, because you get yourself in trouble. But the reality is, when you know what you know, it's kind of hard to change that. And I've always been able to get an idea of the character of a person by how they treat others. Some people are just naturally altruistic, and other people, they're users. Thankfully, that doesn't seem to be as bad in the carnivore community. I mean, there are some users out there, but it doesn't seem to be as bad as some of the other groups. But when it comes to people that are being altruistic or pretending like they're altruistic, I tell people beware. If somebody's really nice to you, and they're smooth talking, they're making all kinds of promises, it's a pretty good, as they say, bet that that person is fake. They're only doing it as a way of getting something that they want. And that's kind of sad. I mean, why do people have to be like that? Why can't they just be real people? Why do they have to make things up? Why do they have to make promises they're not going to keep? Maybe they can't keep. I don't know. The biggest problem too, a lot of people get into the internet and they have these ideas. Some people think that they're going to be able to get the help that they want by putting their story out there. And people are going to rise up to the occasion, and that may happen. But in most cases, it doesn't happen. People will make promises they won't keep. Maybe they can't keep. And the other problem is, if you're one of those people that has a large following, maybe you have 100,000 or more subscribers, realistically, how many of those people can you maintain contact with? 100, maybe? So, if you're going to be a subscriber to a large YouTube channel, and you think that you can build a personal relationship with one of these influencers, you're pretty much not going to. Many of the larger channels, they have teams of people that can read and respond to comments, and you don't know who it is. If you pay to play, you may get a little more access, but the reality is, you're just a cash cow. There's nothing really what I would call special about that. How much is the fuel? The price board is broken. You can't even tell what the fuel costs here. Let's see. Camera's still working? Yes, it is. I haven't seen any chickens around here either. I mean, I know I cooked a few of them, but I left several. Anyway, I don't see any wild poultry here anymore. Maybe people are getting desperate enough they're starting to cook them. Not good. Well, at least there's still some ducks. Although around here, there's not many ducks. See a lot of lizards, little tiny lizards. Anyway, you know, this whole thing can drive you crazy if you let it. And that's really up to you. As I mentioned in a previous video, your mental state is important. If you let all of this get to you, it's just going to send you down to a place you don't want to go. You'll go one of two ways. You're either going to become discouraged and just disconnect from the whole thing, or you're going to learn to play the game. And if you learn to play the game, you're probably going to be taking advantage of it. So you'll start to see people who are somewhat altruistic and enthusiastic about their cause. Now they're out there trying to make some money. So they start the memberships. They start selling products. They really get into this. And what ends up happening, sadly, they lose track of what they started with. And that is a problem. Now again, is it bad to sell stuff? No. But when you start out on YouTube with the idea of like meeting people or doing something good, and then you turn it into some kind of a money grab where you're selling green powder from a scam company. You're selling some type of course which is overpriced and isn't going to do you any good. Or maybe you're just out there trying to get you to, maybe you're trying to get some church or some kind of project. You want people to send you money. There's all kinds of ways that people use their influence on others. Now again, does that mean that everybody that does these things has a bad motive? Of course not. But if they get to the point where they have a lot of interest, a lot of money's coming in, let's say they've got a really big advertising contract, and they find out the product's not that great, well, they're going to keep selling it in most cases because they need the money. Whenever somebody makes more money, they start spending more money. And then they get in this loop. When they first started out, they may have been poor. They may not have made a lot of money. So making money was something great. It was something extra. But then once they became into this lucrative way of living, they get used to it. They start spending more money. They start doing all these things. And then what ends up happening, it becomes the new normal, the new standard. If they were to withdraw from that, they'd have to go back to what they started with, which means no exotic car, no fancy home, might have to have old clothes, and you might be riding a bike. That's what happens. So what they do, they simply just ignore the problems and keep selling the product, keep selling the service. That's it. Now, sooner or later, either they get tired of it and retire, maybe they die, or they get involved in a scam that gets them shut down. Hello, Mrs. Ducky. Fresh duck. Look at Mrs. Ducky. You're too little to eat. Okay. Anyway, I'm sure I've bored you long enough with my rambling. I'm hoping that in the near future, I'm going to be able to make some edited and targeted videos. What I want to do is get a subject and then put video clips, other things into it. But I'm kind of waiting until I find a decent computer. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and re-enable. What I'm going to do, I have monetization on my YouTube channel. I just don't get anything for it because I keep it disabled on the live streams, and I also keep it disabled on all the other videos. I don't have enough short views to enable it on there. But when I do make the longer form content, which is going to be in the old YouTube tradition, we're going to try to keep it under 20 minutes and be highly targeted and see what happens. And I'll enable the ads on that, see if it makes any money. Maybe it'll get some attention. I think that I have a lot to offer with the experiences that I've had, the area that I'm in. I'm unique, especially in the carnivore community. I am the only active carnivore in the Miami area. I don't know any others here. That's why we don't have get-togethers. That's why the prominent carnivores never come here. This is carbohydrate city. It's not carnivore city. And although you do see some people out for a walk, most people here are basically lazy. They drive everywhere. They want nothing to do with exercise. Okay. I got some people coming over here. Nobody has the decency to kind of let you go past usually. You have to kind of bully them out of the way or go around them. Anybody can wear a hoodie in this weather. Ugh, so hot. There are no ducks, and the iguanas seem to have left. Oh well, no big deal. See if I can get through here without hitting the pole. All right. So, here's my advice to you. If you watch YouTube, They like the internet like I do. Be realistic. Remember, the majority of the people you see there that are large channels, they really don't have the desire or the time to help anybody unless they can make money off of them. Smaller channels, it can be good for a while, but if they ever become popular, you'll lose track of them as well. But again, if you can meet people and make a few good friends from the internet, it's all worth it. It really is. And that's the way I feel. Looks like the sun is down. I see somebody's mowing their yard with an electric lawnmower. Interesting. Oh, is that? No, it's a gas mower. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen a gas mower with a light on it. Maybe it is electric. I don't know. Can't really tell. Yeah, it might be electric. Who knows? I hardly ever cut grass. I just have a little strip by the road. I do cut that from time to time. Street lights are out. Sun is down. I'm going home. Gonna take a bath and get ready for the keto cookout. So anyway, I hope you have a great night, and I'll catch you later.